IKONINI. Kuna movie moja ilikuwa inanifurahishaga sana, ilikuwa inaitwa The Usual Suspects. Na kwa The Usual Suspects kulikuwa na karakta ya Kevin Spacey. Na karakta ya Kevin Spacey, kuna kitu moja ile alisema, like the greatest trick that the devil ever pulled was convincing the world that he didn't exist. And why am I talking about this? For a very long time, wengi wetu tumekuwa tukiassociate mse kama Raila na the fight for Kenyan rights. Najua, like this is someone who has Kenya's interest 100%. This is why utapata wase kama Alai wana post kitu kama Baba has known about Adani and its offering since Grand Coalition government. If Baba says the deal is okay, I believe and trust that it's okay. Baba never engages in shady deals. Omeyo, from today we must implement the Adani deal. I support. Omeyo ni like meaning from today, ama because of that from today, something like that. Yes. So with that, ukienda online unapata vitu wasa walianza kujoke. So kuna mpaka kitu inaitwa the Adani brothers, na the Adani brothers ni basically watu wamechukua Adani, alafu juu ya Adani wakashikanisha sura ya Adani, sura ya Ruto na sura ya Raila pamoja. But Raila in the same time came out na akatuambia kuwa he's part of the opposition. And history ya Raila ya kuclaim he's part of the opposition and they've not joined the government, it's a funny one. And it's a funny one because it reminds me of kitu moja ile nani umsa naitwa Natembea alibaki amesema early this year. And like just ni last month alibaki amesema hii story. And pia naweza quote Peter Tosh, you can fool some people sometime but you can't fool all the people all the time. Si wote tunajua ODM iko gava. Hakuna kitu moja ODM nizabaki imetuconvince iko gava. But before tuangalie the reasons why ODM is in the government, wacha tusikie kile Natembea alisema.
Wezi kwa usiku wewe unakula na wale, si ndio? Alafu mchana wakati tunalia njaa unalia na zizi. Yeye tunasema nini? Inaitwa politics of dishonesty ambayo sisi hatutaki. Na hii taifa la Kenya kwa sasa mambo mabaya inafanyika, siasa imechanganyikiwa. Juzi kuna vijana walifanya maandamano, wakafanya maandamano, tukaona ODM imeingia ndani ya serikali. Sisi tunaomba ndugu zetu wa ODM, tunawaomba watoto wa ODM, mumekaribishwa kuingia kwa serikali, mumeingia kwa serikali, ingia kwa hiyo serikali na mikono miguu miwili. Wacha kuweka mguu mmoja kwa upinzani, ingine ndani ya serikali. Mambo haifanywi namna hiyo. Uwezi kuwa ndani ya serikali na ukuwe kiongozi ya upinzani, haiwezekani. ODM kaa ndani huko. Makosa kama itafanyika tutakutana 2027 mjibu pia nyinyi.
Nasikia hiyo, makosa kama itafanyika tutapatikana 2027 mjibu pia nyinyi. Okay, unakumbuka, so Raila alisema ODM haiko kwa gava, but Opio and I always say that sometimes if you want to know what the owner thinks, look at what his dogs are doing and who the dogs are backing at. Unakumbuka Opio and I alikuwa anasema kuwa in 2027 they are going to support Ruto. Wacheki. And haizi sema hivyo if tayari haijakuwa approved na baba. Unacheki. So the fact that that's approved by Raila, that's why alibaki amesema hivyo, that in 2027. So hizi vitu zote they all point to the 2027 elections. I would not be surprised if 2027 tunaweza end up na Ruto versus Raila again. But with this time, Raila just knowing, tunacheza mafala. Ni mafala. Wacha tuwacheze alafu tubaki tumeona nini. But kau kucheck your press conference ya Buda, msikie akisema kuwa hawako kwa gava, wako kwa opposition. In other words, akituita mafala.
But I think I want to be on record today. Kila mara media wanasema the marriage Raila na Ruto na nini. Kama ni marriage kuna mama na kuna bwana.
Sasa kuna hiyo part ya kama ni marriage kuna mama na kuna nini. Lakini pia ushaijuaga if you are dating a girl na dem mwenyewe anajulikana mtaani kama Kuro, ama kama pole kutumia jina kama malaya, of course utataka ujulikane uko na huyo dem, because itakuwa like unakuja na ugonjwa wa zinaa, toka hapa. You'll not be proud of that girl. Udem ODM in a date, of course udem tunamjua jo, ashagawia Adani, amegawia China, amegawia Maemirati kula kapatia carbon credits. So nikakuro fulani kale utaki kuassociated naye, and that's why wanamhepa. But wacha tuendelee kusikia hiyo puzi ya vile si yako kwa gava.
We have not, ODM has not entered the government. There is no contract that we've signed with Kenya Kwanza. We have not signed an agreement. We have said right from the beginning that we need a national dialogue, a national convention to discuss the issues ailing the country. Some of them which we raised ourselves, and some of them which were raised by the youth this year when they were demonstrating. That conversation has not taken place. Until that conversation takes place properly, an agreement is reached, we are not in government.
SK ujinga, so wanataka conversation. But ukiangalia on the other side, so mechiki one side, nimebonga jia vile Opiyo Wandayi alisema that wanaenda kusupport Ruto. But mse mwingine pia ule alikuwa yuko ndani ya gava kabisa, ni mse anaitwa Ledama Lekina. So Ledama Olekina ulimcheki like during the whole unga thing, alikuwa hapo, ilikuwa gani yeye akiwa na yeye, Raila, Joho na Ruto, they were all in New York. Nitangulini an opposition person akaenda na president New York unless that opposition person is being taken as part of the government. So hasa tuchukua gani kasi ni mafala. Na hata ukienda mbali kuna hizo photos na cheki like unapata Ruto surrounded by 3 ODM people, and then you're trying to tell us that ODM is not in the government. So this is what's going to happen. Vile nashinda nikisema kuna mafala wengi sana hapa nje, and this time Ruto is going to use Raila to do the Moi trick where we have too many parties running so that they try and push it wajua 50% plus 1. It's impossible for anyone to get 50% plus 1. And so he splits the vote, and maybe they try to kusema vote ya Ruto ime stay intact, lakini ya opposition in quotes imekuwa split. So that's the trick they're going to do. But Raila is in government and Ruto is in government. Na vile Natembea alisema hii noma ikianguka in the year 20 whatever ikianguka, tutaiwekelea Raila the same way tutaiwekelea Ruto. Zile siku za Raila kuchukuliwa as a savior zishaisha. Unacheki like I think maybe we didn't have enough information, but yeye mwenyewe amekama kaji-expose. Kuna vitu kadhaa zile zime happen during this internet time zile yeye mwenyewe is recover from. But Sheska got the infamous saying that if you're in a hole, stop digging. So umse ashatokea akatuambia hako kwa gava, alafu akaamua kutackle the most controversial topic that's like facing this government, and that topic is the topic of Adani. Adani mi unanijuaga, every time I sit here I call Adani a criminal organization, and Adani is a criminal organization. But sasa hasa wanajua Raila mostly ufollowiwa na wasoko blind. Baba shasema si budako. Mi budangu alidedi the year 1996. Funny enough, by the time budangu alikuwa na dedi, Raila was not even the politician that he is right now. Buda alidedi kama Buda Raila was Buda Raila pia alikuwa sha dedi, but Raila was not the politician that he is right now. So with that in mind, I'll have to say rest in peace to Sospito Ogada. Umse si budangu, na reason pia nasema si budangu ni mse fulani ule ameka kutuonyesha that he's so selfish that he'll send us to the slaughter just to make a shilling, just to make a buck. And as I keep saying, he's rich enough. Like akina watoi wake wote, they are set. His grandkids are set for life. They do not need to eat anymore. For someone to try and justify this Adani bullshit. So anasema ati Adani ni jina clean. Sikia hii.
Transparency in dealing with these issues. Otherwise, you're likely to try to condemn very reputable companies. As we see stories like Adani Gate. Adani company conglomerate is worth over $200 billion. It cannot be an Adani Gate. Deal with issues as they are. If some people have made mistakes, let them own up that they made some mistakes. But do not begin to condemn innocent companies who are basically doing.
So Adani can be called anything but innocent. So we'd have to go back to last year, of course. Last year, January, where Adani ended up losing. In less than a month, Adani, the person, lost more than $100 billion of his net worth. Say at some point alikuwa worth 230 billion. Saizi wacha tucheki. Unaweza baki Google his net worth. And so we're trying to imagine why are you losing your net worth if you're this innocent person? Shaiskia akina nani wame lose like hiyo do yote cause of a scandal. Do they lose cause of the market? Akina Zuckerberg, akina Elon Musk, yes, sometimes the market moves blah, lakini we've never heard that they've lost their value because of market manipulation. Saizi ukiandika Adani net worth, what comes? Adani, someone who was worth, at some point he was worth over 200 billion. Right now Gautam Adani is worth 81.1 billion. I may lose over 100 and I think over 130 billion of his net worth, and he 81.1 billion, it's still inflated, and apart from inflated, it's still involved in stock manipulation na vitu kama hizo. So pole, ukitaka kuunderstand Raila, you have to go back to the first time he heard about Adani. So he tried to explain the first time he heard about Adani, and this impressed a few people, but mimi nilikuwa zile I know the reason. Okay,
I have a chance to interact with the PPP proposals in question. It is my duty to state what I know about them. When I was the Prime Minister of Kenya, I was introduced to the company and its activities by the Prime Minister Narendra Modi, while he was then the Chief Minister of the state of Gujarat. Indeed, Prime Minister Modi organized for a Kenya government mission to visit Gujarat, and I had the opportunity to visit this company's infrastructure projects in that state that included a port, a power plant, a railway line, and an airstrip developed out of what was a swamp donated by the government of India. I'm talking about Adani group of companies.
so nacheki, so amebonga hapo juu ya Adani group of companies. What I mention hapo ni Narendra Modi and Adani are personal friends. So even when India was investigating Adani for stock manipulation na corruption, Modi ended up defending him and protecting him. So Modi will always, and this is the difference between Kenyan leaders and other leaders from other countries, is Modi will always put India's interests mbele. That's why even like when Adani was being criticized outside, like the outside India, akina Modi walikuwa nasema that's an attack on India because they look at India and they're trying to protect India. But this is where it gets interesting, and I really hope that this ends up coming to fruition. But kuna time, this was on March 15th, 2024, Reuters walibaki wame report US probing Adani Group and founder over potential bribery, Bloomberg reports. So history ikaendelea ikasema the United States has widened its investigation of India's Adani Group to focus on the conduct of its founder Gautam Adani and whether the company may have engaged in bribery, Bloomberg News reported on Friday. Prosecutors are digging into whether an Adani entity or people linked to the company, including Gautam Adani, were involved in paying officials in India for favorable treatment on an energy project, the report. So the interesting thing if when the US is involved, if American taxpayers lost even a single cent because of this guy, it would help Kenya because he'd be arrested and his ass would end up in jail. Them, they don't give a fuck about his net worth. They don't give a fuck about Narendra Modi, Nini. But sisi of course Kenya, lazima tulambe rasa zase. So, but to go back to Adani, so Adani at some point, of course, this was a publicly listed company. I think ilikuwa kwa the Dow Jones, states. And it started getting really ugly. And last year, kuna vile, a few things zili happen, because kuna vile nini, aso wanaitwa Bangladesh, before even the protest, they wanted to revise their contract. But apart from them revising their contract with Adani, that's their power contract. Kumbuka sisi, this past Friday, we ended up signing a contract na Adani worth 95.7 billion. Remember? That happened on Friday. Chini ya maji tu, tukibonga juu ya Gachagua. So, Bangladesh walikuwa wanataka kucheck ile contract walikuwa na Adani. They wanted to scrap it off. And at the same time as they were scrapping it off, the Dow Jones, inaitangwa sensis, okay, utasikia hiyo, Dow Jones something index ended up pushing Adani out. Why? Because it could not be trusted.
It looks like more trouble is brewing for the Adani Group. Adani Enterprises will be removed from the Dow Jones Sustainability Index prior to opening on February 7th. The news comes a day after NSE Adani Enterprises, Adani Ports and Ambuja Cements under the Additional Surveillance Measure framework. The Dow Jones Sustainability Indices said the action had been over allegations of stock manipulation and accounting fraud. Meanwhile, Bangladesh has sought revision of a 2017 power purchase agreement with Adani Power as the price for the coal-generated electricity appeared too expensive.
Eskia, the price of the Nini ended up too expensive. That's in Bangladesh. So Bangladesh wants out. But now, kwanza kuna shindwa, what is this Dow Jones Sustainability Index? And Dow Jones Sustainability Index, it's basically an index of companies ile unafikiria hii company inawezabaki imeishi for long. And the US were like, nah, we don't think this company is going to survive for long. So they ended up wakirusha inje. But sisi hapa tuko na mikono yetu iko inje. Na sasa mikono yetu since iko inje, akina Raila wako hapa wanatuambia that we need to end up working with Adani. Adani is this very reputable company. And you see who Adani is being accused of working with. And is a story, like, if I can get these stories, it means that watu kama kina Ruto wanajua hii story. So wacha tuangalie. The Dow Jones Sustainability Indices are a family of best-in-class benchmarks for investors who have recognized that sustainable business practices are critical to generating long-term shareholder value and who wish to reflect their sustainability convictions in their investment portfolios. So lazima ikue what is meant by the sustainability index. A sustainability index is an instrument used to measure the sustainability of a business across environmental and social factors. The sustainability of a business across environmental and social factors. Remember, Dow Jones ilikuwa nini kick out Adani. Because aioni kama history ya Adani ni sustainable. Because yes, Modi will protect him. But Modi is mortal. So at some point Modi ataenda. Will the next Indian Prime Minister protect him? Apart from that, hizi maskandal wako nazo. Akiarestiwa na the US today for bribery, what happens to your stock? Kumbuka stock last year ilianguka kabisa by more than 100 billion in less than a month. What's going to happen right now? So mse kama Raila, I think the worst thing about life ni we never know when to exit the stage. Na Buddha hajajua time ya exit the stage. Na pia ashatengenezea watoi wake na grandkids so much money, but ni kama he still wants more. And the funny thing is in 2022 bila alirushiwa noma ya Uhuru alikuwa anasema zizi mimi sikuwa kwa gava, na bado alirushiwa hii noma. This time tumeona literally yuko kwa gava, watu wake wako kwa gava, watu wake ndio wana sign deals na Adani. So remember back in 2022 alisema alikuwa na defend Uhuru, and he used to defend everything that Uhuru was doing. So ilikuwa Raila Odinga defends Uhuru Kenyatta on Kenya's rising public debt. Right now ana defend the Adani deal. How to destroy a legacy? You just keep talking. You keep talking, and then you have yes men around you. Akina anaitwa nani? Akina Junet. These are just yes men. They just watakulamba tu rasa. They'll never tell you the truth. And hii kulambwa rasa ndio ilifanya it cost you a presidency, because you need people to tell you this is bullshit. Stay away from this. Stay away from this. Hakuna vile you can find a government that's so unpopular. This has never happened again in this country since times of Moi. A government so unpopular, and then you decide to join it, and you know that people hate this government, and the government that people hate so much, unaenda po kijoin, na after kuijoin wanaendelea kutuongezea taxes, alafu wewe uko hapo unatudanganya you are part of the opposition. You're not part of the opposition. You can fuck off with that bullshit. So yeah, well, sisi tunajua the Adani brothers saizi tuko tunasema ni Ruto na Adani, but saizi tumechikini Raila ameongezwa hapo, because one thing about Ruto is making politicians money that they only dreamt of, because he's coming up with corruption opportunities that they've never even thought were possible. That's why chikiwa seka kina David Ndii. Saizi Ndii jo wife wa Ndii atakuwa hapo akitusaidia kurun the health system, najua the new NHIF, hiyo shift, watakuwa na tu shaft sisi wenyewe. But now at least kitu moja ni baba Nandi ukubali, he's corrupt and he's part of a corrupt system. Raila iko hapa akitrai kutuzia ile yake ya kitambo ya mweupe kama pamba, but those days are gone. Those days are fucking gone. Saa hizi sisi tunajua serikali, na serikali ni Kenya Kwanza, UDA na ODM. Hizo mbili ni serikali kabisa, hizo hata haziwezi separate. Come 2027 we are hoping that kutakuwa na watu wata step up, na mimi nitabaki nimetumia the words of Steve Ogechi. Steve Ogechi alisema akienda 2027 kwa polling station apate ni stool versus Ruto, atachagua stool. Na pia mimi nitafanya vivyo hivyo. Mimi the only baba hata ni convince otherwise ni babangu mzazi, na babangu mzazi alikufa tarehe 9 Oktoba 1996. Any other baba can fuck off. Ikonene.